So, hello everyone. Today we are going to do 3rd May's newspaper, and 3rd May is also known as Press Freedom Day. All right. Now, blind spot in governments, and this is related to Karnataka's. Though Karnataka is very technologically led urban growth, and still it has failed to address the issue of poverty and inequality. All right. Now let's move forward. So, how problematic situation is this? All right. The poverty in Karnataka at 13.2% in 2021 continues to be the highest among the southern state, 4.89% in the Tamil Nadu, 0.71% in Kerala, and 12.3% in Andhra Pradesh. Now, Karnataka does not feature in high SDI list of 8 states, and in fact, the state's overall SDI ranking among all states in 17th. The Multidimensional Poverty Index, which was released by Niti Aayog in 2021, highlighted that in Karnataka, 34% remains nutrients deprived, in Kerala 50% and Tamil Nadu 24% of and Andhra Pradesh 26%. Now poverty continues to exceed 35% in the historical poor northern district of Chitrathurng, Belri, Kopak, Raichur, Golabarga and Bagalkot and Bidar, and rural and lacking irritation and infrastructure facilities. Now, Karnataka's rate of urbanization at 38% has been highest than the national average. That means urbanization is taking place, but through urbanization, poverty as well as unemployment is also coming. More than 65% of urban population is concentrated in three major transport corridors. That is in Bangalore, Belgaum, Mysore, Kolar, and Mangaluru, Karwar. All right. Now the industrial jobs have increasing disappeared, caused by the shift to capital in intensive industrialization brought on by globalization. Now, international competition in technology and pricing, declining public sectors and small scale industry sectors, and closed textile mills have ceased to be potential destination for unskilled and semi skilled job seekers. That means in the industrial jobs, there has been increasingly disappeared, and it is the cause of shift of capital intensive industrialization. That means the industrial works has been replaced by the machineries, and it because of the globalization and the international competition in technology and pricing. Now there has been decline in the public sector and small scale industry sectors, and closed textile mill has been increasing potential destruction on unskilled as well as semi-skilled job seekers have also been deprived. Now, Karnataka's unemployment rate of 2.7% is lower than the national average of 4.2%. That means employment rate is also low than the national average, and the condition of low skilled workers, even those working in the so-called organized corporate sector or as contract working in government service, demonstrated that it is possible to be employed but poor. That means in Karnataka's presently the employed rate is lesser than the national average employed rate. And the condition of low skilled laborers, even those working in so called organized corporate sectors, that means those who are even working in organized corporate sectors, have been these are the contract workers in the government services, or even the contract workers who are working in the government services demonstrate that it is possible to be employed but poor. Means they are employed but still they are poor. So it is little problematic situation for all of us. Okay, and now for the people, several initiatives by the government have been ensured that citizens do not bear the brunt of fuel price volatile. Now, measures to protect the Indian customers from international oil and gas price volatile despite a stagnating increase of 228% in international gas price between January 2021 to February 2023, and the increase in CNG prices in India has been restricted to 83%, only about third percent of global increase. The police mechanism Administrative price mechanism. The recent cabinet decision to approve a series of critical APM gas pricing reforms will further advance this object. These reforms achieve two major goals. First, to protect Indians from extreme price volatile, and to protect clarity for the planned capex investment in gas-based sector. Second, to promote more in innovation and investment in exploration and productivity. That is exploration and productivity, as is ENP. That means the recent cabinet decision has been to there has been a series of critical APM gas pricing reforms, which further advance the objective. That is, these reforms achieves two major goals. First, to protect the Indians from extremely price volatile, and to provide the clarity of planned CapEx investment in gas-based sector. Secondly, to promote more innovation and investment in explore and production. That means to further better the gas-based sectors. Along with that, to protect the Indian citizens from extreme volatile gas prices. All right, and India is aggressively expanding infrastructure for oil and gas operation and executing policy reforms to balance the interest of both the summer and consumer and producer. Since 2014, India has increased the length of its gas pipeline network for 14,700 kilometer to 22,000 kilometer in 2023. That means India has increased its length of gas pipelines. All right. In addition to domestic connections of increase of 22.28 lakhs in 2014 to cover 1.03 crores in 2023. Now the number of CGD convert district in India has increased from 66 in 2014 to 630 in 2023, while CNG station had gone up to 938 in 2014 to 528 in 2023. India's LNG retained regasification and capacity has increased from 21.7 mmtpa in 2014 to 42.7 mmtpa in 2023, after another 20 mmta capacity of under construction. While the growing demand from natural gas, India is well on its own way to reeling a gas-based economy as a part of broader energy transition goal and the vision of clearer, greener, and more sustainable energy future of India instead of being in reality. Now, international chaos. External crisis. That means there has been internal chaos and external crisis. The Pakistan foreign policy, including meaningful changes in ties with India, and cannot be reconfigured until there is domestic consensus on the external orientation. That means first they have to deal with their inner problems, then they can think about the external problem. Now these internal problems are also caused by the external crisis. Now Pakistan foreign minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, that is Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, he has been in India currently, and he has to participate in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is being led by the China. And Islamabad is also facing new challenges in Afghanistan and is struggle to cope with shifting geopolitical dynamics in the Middle East. Now, Bajwa, that is the former Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan, did seek a reorientation Pakistan foreign policy and made a major effort to improve ties with India. And his attempt to engage and reduce tensions with the India was no secret. And Delhi and Islamabad announced ceasefire agreement in February 2021, and this came after highlighting tension following the Pulwama terror attack and Balakot bombing by the Indian Air Force, and the Pakistani represent in the 2019. Now, Imran has calculated that the political cost of to himself from normalizing the ties with India was too high. That means if he does political ties with India, it will result in his poor political problems. He won't be selected again, and Bajwa could not persuade him to think otherwise. But that claim that Bajwa sold out on Kashmir. Now, Imran's anti-American posturing saw the deorientation of ties with Washington, and his enthusiasm to be seen in Moscow on the day Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion of Ukraine outraged Europe and US. Imran also sought to align with Turkey as it sought to wrest the leadership of Islamic world for Saudi Arabia and picked quarrel with United Arab Emirates. All right, means it has picked a fight with UAE in order to get some global dominance over the Islamic world with the help of friendship of Turkey and the Saudi Arabia, and undermine the transitional goodwill for Pakistan and Arab Gulf. Turkey is normalized tie with Saudi Arabia and UAE, while Pakistan finds itself marginalized in the Middle East. Understood? And the demons that the army has unleashed over the last 5 decades: addiction to jihad, employment of religious extremism at home, letting the Kashmir relic overwhelm the pragmatic consolidations were hard to wish away, and they had entrenched themselves in Pakistan nation mind space, and it caused lots of problems. Understood? Now let's move forward. 39% of Indian families are victim of online fraud. 71% are no resolution to complain. 18% have been complained and platform and got money back. 17% feels that helpless when they don't know where to go, and have experienced credit or debit card fraud and defrauded when the website taking money from products. And 30% had on members in the family who had been fraud acted, and 9% multiple members subject to financial fraud. The European market regulates the recognition of six Indian clearing corporates. All right, what's threat to the European banks? The reorganization of these six CCPs will pose a threat to existence of Europe Bank that had present in India. The European lenders will have to set aside a huge capital to trade. Now ESMA. All right, what is ESMA? Now ESMA is a European Securities and Market Authorities. All right. Now, this ESMA's decisions to deorganize Indian CPC was due to non-corporate arrangement between ESMA and Indian regulatories, the Reserve Bank of India (RBI), the Security and Exchange Board of India (SEBI), and the International Financial Service Center Authority (IFSCA). The EU finalized markets regulator wants to supervise these CCPs. All right, they want to supervise these CCPs, and which the Indian regulatories are not in favor of, as they feel that these entities have no robust risk management, and there is no need for foreign regulatories to inspect them. That India wants them to not to get inspected, and the EU has been supervising these want to supervise these CCPs. What kind of CCPs? The CCPs like the Reserve Bank of India, the SEBI, all right, the International Financial Service Center authorities, these three, and the Reserve Bank of India Governor Shashikanta Das has said that the foreign regulatory should trust the credibility of Indian regulations. It is also necessary for regulators on the other side to appreciate and trust their credibility and strengthen the Indian regulation, and this is what we are trying to impress upon them. And in the absence of this arrangement, the European lenders will have to set aside a huge capital to trade. All right, and if these CCPs leaves India, and it would leaves the European Union, as the bank has this reorganized of these CCPs, then they have to take the lend huge capitals for trade from other countries. All right. Now they haven't given. Acha, CCP means country central counterparties. India's third countries central country central counterparties, CCPs. All right. Now let's move forward. Let's see whether there has been some relation to. No, there is nothing. Yeah. Now in Taiwan Foreign Minister Joseph Wu has said that Taiwan is unclear who will help us if war breaks with China. Taiwan intends to fight for itself in the armed conflict with China and is unclear as to what countries might stand behind it, the self-governing island. With a population of only 23 million compared to the China's 1.4 billion, has to defend itself and is not asking another countries to fight for it. Taiwan has to defend itself, and the people have to be defending Taiwan and this country. And we are determined to defend ourselves, and we are not asking other countries to fight with Taiwan. Sorry, no, fight with China. Now, student arrival from India more than that from China in 2022. The US has told. Now, India sent more students to United States as compared to the previous year, while China sent fewer. All right, means China is not sending its children to study in the US, and the number of students from China and India made Asia the most popular continent of the origin. That means Asia has become the most popular continent of origin, and Uganda passes harsh anti-LGBTQ bill, mostly unchanged. Now, world's strictest anti-LGBTQ bill, mostly unchanged, included provision for long-term jails and death penalties. The new bill retained the most of the harshest measure of legislation adopted in March 23, which drew condemnation from the United States, European Union, United Nations, and major corporations, allowing for death penalties in case of so-called aggravated homosexuality, action including having gay sex when HIV positive. All right, and 20-year sentence for the promoting homosexuality, rights for lesbian, gay, and bisexual, transgender, and queer. These things have been down in the Uganda. Now, same-sex relations are allegedly illegal in Uganda under the colonial law, and unleashed a wave of arrest, eviction, and mobile attacks. Western government suspended aid, imposed visa and restrictions, and curtailed security cooperation in response to another anti-LGBTQ law signed in 2014, which was nullified with the months by a domestic court on procedural grounds. So let's move forward. Let's study on this. The UGC opens unified portal for the faculty recruitment in universities. Now, the University Grants Commission (UGC) on Tuesday launched a unified portal for the recruitment of faculty to central universities, where nearly 31% of the sanctioned positions are vacant. That it is the website given, and there are total 46 universities tied under the Union Ministry and Education. All right, let's move forward. And why the recent rain is no relief? Why the recent rain is no relief? Globally, the month of March this year was the second warmest month ever since the beginning of record in mid 1800s, and an analysis of carbon brief and climate change focused online online publication in the UK said that the year 2023 was sharpening up to become one of the top four warmest year on the record, and it was a rapid development of El Nino. Means warmness was developed because of El Nino, and the coolness was because of La Nina. E for elephant. Elephant is though very peaceful, but here it is opposite. It is bringing warmth, and La Nina, lion is little warmer, but still it brings the happiness. That is the cold. Now, how much is India's warming up? Now, increasing in temperature evident all over the world is being experiencing in India too, and though at the slightest lower level than the global average. Means on the global average we are still behind. And the year 22, for example, was 1.15 degrees Celsius warmer than the pre-industrialized times. Alright, that means in 1850 to 1900s, and was the fifth or sixth warmest year on the record in India. Average temperature in 2022 was 0.64 degrees Celsius higher than the normal average. And the difference from the pre-industrial temperature is not clear, but the warming over India is known to be the lower than the global average. That means India is less warmer than other countries. All right, of the global average and most comprehensive assessment of India's climate done by the Ministry of Earth Science in 22 has been shown that the average annual means temperature in India has been rising about zero point 0.7 degrees Celsius from 1900, and this is significantly less than the global rise in temperature, which has been exceeding growing well in this given time. By the end of century, the warming of Indian is likely to range from 2.4 to 4.4 degrees Celsius from the current level in the different dimension of scenario. And the warming over the sea around the India has been much higher. Sea surface temperature, status Indian Ocean has risen, and by the almost 1 degree Celsius between 1950 to 2015 assessment over the year. And what about the different states of India? The warming over the India is not uniform across the region, and there has been different 29 states. So the temperature of Himachal Pradesh, Goa, Kerala has increased in the rate of more than 1 degree Celsius per year. Alright, and most of the northeastern region like Mizoram, Assam, Sikkim, Manipur, Tripura have seen their temperature climb to rate of zero point 0.7 degree Celsius per 100 year. However, the eastern states of Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa have experiencing the least warming. That means these regions of the regions near the Bay of Bengal has been experiencing least warmness. Uttar Pradesh with warming of 0.13 degrees Celsius is also in the same blanket. All right, and Goa has seen maximum increased trend of annual rainfall. Means Goa is experiencing more rainfall, and its rainfall has an increase at the rate of 21 millimeter over a 100-year period. That's too much. And it is the following by Gujarat. Tripura rainfall has decreased in Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur. Means it is completely opposite now. Goa is experiencing more rainfalls as compared to the northeastern regions. And this year, 2022 is the warmest year in the record of Sikkim, while it is the second warmest Himachal Pradesh. Meghalaya and Punjab instead, at least two states, Karnataka and Telangana, were cooler than the normal 2022, although origin marginally. And Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, and Punjab saw a maximum rise in temperature last year compared to the normal. In Uttarakhand, average annual means temperature have been 1.17 Celsius higher than the average for the 1981 to 2010 period. Now, which weather event kills most people? And for the first time, IMD also represented the death on the data caused by extreme weather events. And while heat waves have attracted a lot of attention, lightning strikes have been killing a far greater number on the people in India, and more than 60% of death caused by the weather events in India in 2022 and were due to the lightning strikes, flood, extreme rainfalls, and even claimed by 937 life. And these numbers are only in the directive and could cause the further larger number, and since IMD has been state government relieved by the Delta Zoo. So here it is the all of the things which have been given. The 10 states with maximum warming in 2022: Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Sikkim, Assam. Means all of those nations which have been uh, states which were cooler earlier, now they are becoming warmer. Now warms are relative for the states. That means the world's year on the warmest year on record is Sikkim. Second warmest Himachal, Meghalaya, and Punjab. Then Arunachal, Mysore, and Tripura. Last Orissa. Now long-term warming: Himachal, Goa, Kerala, Mizoram, Uttarakhand, Assam. These are the problems. Now, the extreme weather death has been from lightning, flood and heavy rainfall, cyclone, snow, gale, heat strokes 30, cold waves 1, thunderstorm 22, thunderstorm 32. Let's move forward. And this is the most populous history and economies of India's population growth. All right, and lessons for India. According to UN projecting unless the China, whose population has peaked, India's population will continue to rise until 2064. But India's fertility rate, the number of children per woman, is already below the replacement rate of 2.1, which suggests that the main concern now is not family planning. The bigger challenge is to figure out how to best use India's demographic divisions to ensure that it becomes richer before it becomes old. That means the main cause of concern is not the family planning or the population, but it is an opportunity for India to use that number of people uh, to become rich before they become old. That means we have to do something in the present scenario. Some experts argue that China, despite its remarkable economic growth over the last 4 decades, might fail to do so. Several countries have fallen into so-called middle income trap. Thus, while South Korea and Israel transitioned to a rich countries, Argentina and South Africa failed. India, which is a low middle income country, Argentina, South Africa, China are upper middle income countries and will have to grow remarkably fast and do so a sustainable basis if it has outgrown the negative of huge population that will require a host of domestic reforms, and especially since global uh, the global growth is expected to be remain muted in the coming years. While India has historically neglected primary health and primary education, that means from the very old time, India has neglected the health and the primary education, the two main things which requires the main attention for its economy to grow, to have the better sustainability of human beings, which will help in the development of economies. And the fact is, no country has become the rich without these investment in these two areas. India has the most poor people in the world. A very large proportion of children are wasted and stunned. Unemployed level are very high, and the participation of women in the workforce is one of the lowest in the world. Finding policy solution to address these key point is else a high proportion of the population in the working age group could, instead of helping matters, cause social unrest. So thank you everyone for listening, and we will continue our May 4th, May 5th, and May 6th as well. Jai Hind.